My book club pitch. My pitch is on Hugh, 1968, A Turning Point of the American War in Vietnam by Mark Bowden. This book involves a lot of American history that we have kind of shamed in the last couple years here, since the Vietnam War, so for the last like 50 plus years. In the aspect of Americans being involved in Vietnam, they were the first war group to return that weren't celebrated with a parade like World War I and World War II. And they're also one of the last pre-Vietnam, like, before Vietnam, all of the people who we could talk to that lived through this war are gone. And those that are in the current war, Afghan and Iraq, that's what we've lived with for most of our lives as a generation. They've been over there. But this is the war that's like lands right in between. And these people are still alive, and we could hear their story, but we don't. And Mark Bowden interviewed 50 people who were on the front lines of this huge battle, Hue. It was a city. And just the absolute massacres that occurred in the city and in the area. And he captures just all of the loss and all of the media constructs for like why it was such an unpopular war back in the States. One of the quotes that sums it up pretty well is that this battle was perhaps the single most significant event of the long war that was in 1968 Tet Offensive, a series of surprise attacks by communist North Vietnamese forces to overthrow the U.S.-backed South Vietnamese government. And that's by George, and then it's Petrus, I believe that's how you say it, from USA Today News, as a review of this book. This book came out in early June, and has done really well. It's been in the top 50 recommended books on a number of different sites in just like the local kind of areas, like Barnes & Noble's has given it a very good rating. It's rated pretty much a 4 to 5 star across the board regardless. It's a very historically based book, so it would actually be things that we could talk to our grandparents or like an aunt or an uncle of like a great aunt or uncle kind of age, that they would have known how unpopular the war was, and we're missing out on that story. And so I think it would be a great way to reconnect with that generation.